to the brand new episode of AI Literacy Bridging the Gap series where tech meets truth. I'm your fact checker friend and AI literacy trainer Devika Mehta, who is going to take you on a ride, bust some myths, and bring you a little closer to AI. Today, I have with me as a special guest Rishabh Nag, who is the founder of humanlyai. He is a digital rights, civic tech, and public interest technologies person who is working around AI and governance. So, Rishabh, please tell me a little about yourself for the audience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Rishabh Nag, and I'm the founder of humanlyai. So we are an AI product company who specialize in defense, manufacturing, supply chain, healthcare, and education. So we guys are building up tech to the next level and on how the world would see India as a tech and how AI is going to change India and the world together right from the place where we are sitting in.
Wonderful, amazing. So just to begin with, one word that describes AI in 2025, what would that be from your perspective?
Reality.
Reality.
It's the present right now.
Okay.
So yes.
All right. So you have built humanly.ai. First of all, why this name, humanly.ai?
We say when bots are powered by human intelligence, they become humanly. So that's the reason why we kept this name, wherein everything what we will build or has or will would be governed by how the humans would want the tech to be built. So that whenever we want to scale it, control it, or we want to let it loose, we still create a paradigm of control over the intelligence, how the bots or artificial intelligence is going to be structured. Right.
So in recent times, you're hearing about AI agents.
Right.
And so can you just, a little elaborate on that? Like your product, is it like
Right.
an AI agent or is it something else?
Right. So we are using at least 200 plus agents since about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Agents are a small workpiece or an action item. So if I want to move my hand from this direction to this and then hand back to this, a simple agent can work and capture this movement and be placed in a software and how a simple work can be done. It is extremely transactional. Right? And you can create a lot of transaction within that work.
Okay.
So for a machine, how we build a lot of several parts, it's the same thing with agents. Now an agent can process salaries, can book those entries in the finance system, can even release payment in the cash, can accept it in the book. Similarly for the sales, similarly for all the departments, now what an entire suite of software used to do, a single level agent can make that transaction happen within the system. So it's like building blocks of an artificial intelligence product.
तो ऋषभ आप ऑलरेडी एक ऐसा प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हो जिससे कि फ्यूचर स्किल्स शायद अलग तरीके से बिल्ड होंगी बट आपकी भी अपनी आपने कोई स्किल्स पोजेस की होंगी जिसको आपने probably the skills that you possessed and the skills that you're building for the future. How did you bridge that gap? How did you align your framework as per the requirements?
Great question. And I guess a lot of people out there would be able to connect with my journey, Devika. I come from a finance background, right? All my 16, 17 years of working with the enterprises was all into finance. Finance as a vertical, finance as a company.
Okay.
Coming in from a non-tech background, it took me these many years to learn and understand the nuance and how tech is being built. That is the first element. The second is you become and talk like a foam, right? A person who would absorb everything and then identify what to ooze out or what to make it be a part of your strength. That is, whenever my tech team, they sit with me, they first explain me what are they gonna explain it to me.
Okay.
Right. And with experience, a lot of things come up. You come up with a lot of use cases. You come from the point of view how a customer or my existing clients would feel. So whenever I'm going to talk to them, either they are technical people or they are non-tech people, I can directly tell them, this is how it's going to impact them. You and me in our real lives, we wait for the right set of impact. The more impact that product is gonna build in our life, it doesn't matter how high level or low level tech it is. And there are companies which we all know are just the wrappers of that technology which are being built. Yet, if they are effective and it gives ease to my work, I'm definitely going to use it. So that's my mindset whenever I'm building any level of tech, any part of tech, or any of the end use case of those techs. So if you understand that you want to learn, then you have to learn every day, 5 times a day. In every meeting, in every discussion, you make notes and then you upskill yourself. That's a daily process. Right?
And any suggestion for, because now from coding to designing a website or doing anything is like so easy.
Right.
With a prompt, you can create everything.
Correct.
So what would be one advice to the Gen Z or the Gen Alphas that are coming up? They are still studying. So one piece of advice to them would be what?
Right. While growing up, communication was the biggest key. When you communicate with a tool, you have to be very discreet, you have to be direct, and you have to encapsulate all your knowledge into a statement. So, in the span of next 5 to 7 years, there would be no specific language apart from typing and writing your own colloquial words which you are using in. Right? तो अगर आपको बोलना आता है, लिखना आता है, ढंग से अपनी चीज समझानी आती है, तो आप टेक से आराम से बात कर सकते हो. This is gonna be the new in thing.
But in the current era, you already have a product, Pragyan AI, जिसमें आप education के perspective से you're working.
Right.
But the students who are getting educated today,
right,
they are mostly on reels. They're watching content. They're not reading. They're not writing. That cursive writing is gone. So how do you think they'll be able to manage that one prompt which is discrete and defined, as you mentioned? How do you think they're going to do that?
Right.
And any lessons from your product, because it must be in that test mode and you must be getting some queries and stuff there. So any derivative from there?
Right. So I would want to answer this question in 3 parts. The first part is the basic skills which you asked. Language, communication, and the flow should always be, मुझे अगर कोई चीज़ समझानी है तो वो अगर मैं जितने कम शब्दों में समझा पाऊंगा उतना ज़्यादा उसका रिटेंशन है, उतनी ही अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी ज़्यादा है, और जितनी ज़्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग है उसका रिजल्ट उतना ही अच्छा आता है. हम ऑफिस के अंदर या घर पे कई बार ये वाली चीज़ बोली जाती है कि पापा सिर्फ एक लाइन में जवाब देते हैं. तो वो पापा का क्राफ्ट है, राइट, मम्मी का क्राफ्ट डिफरेंट है. सेम तरीके से आपको अगर इस तरीके से आप बोल पा रहे हो, लिख पा रहे हो, बता पा रहे हो कि आपको क्या चाहिए, और अगर आपको वो चीज़ नहीं समझ में आ रही, आप जो एग्जिस्टिंग टूल्स यूज़ करते हैं अपन, वहाँ पर भी आप अपनी फीलिंग्स लिखते हो, फिर उसको बोलते हो कैन यू ड्राफ्ट आउट इन अ वे ऑफ अ प्रॉम्प्ट. फिर वो उस प्रॉम्प्ट के ऊपर आप फर्दर डाइसेक्ट करते हो, आप उसको अपने हिसाब से मोल्ड करते हो, राइट. तो वो मोल्ड करना, उसको आर्टिकुलेट करना कि किस तरीके से आपको क्या चीज़ कहनी है, will always be an existential art.
And you think that it is going to survive?
It will always
the tests and technologies of time.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So my next question would be, your website mentions AI solutions. And when we say AI solutions, what do we mean by this? What are the solutions that we are actually looking? I mean, it can be related to different products, different themes, different ideas. But when we say AI solutions, what are the solutions?
All right. Let's dissect this word solution. For every process, there is a process because there was a pain point. The moment there was a pain point, we created a process around it. When the process came, then created a layer of solution to contain that process in place. For example, मैं अभी 20th फ्लोर पे बैठा हूँ और मुझे अगर नीचे जाना है तो मुझे सबसे पहला स्टेप इज, मुझे यहाँ से खड़ा होना पड़ेगा, मुझे लिफ्ट तक जाना पड़ेगा, वो वाली लिफ्ट ढूंढनी पड़ेगी जिस लिफ्ट से मुझे ग्राउंड फ्लोर तक जाना है. So there are 3 different processes attached to this process of going to the ground floor.
Right.
Right? So this is an entire process. We have it in our day-to-day lives also. हमें कुछ भी करना होता है, there is a process around it. अगर इस बिल्डिंग में कंसिडर इट कि अपन 100 साल पहले बैठे होते हैं, मान लीजिए 20 मंजिल की नहीं होती, लेकिन अगर 8 मंजिल की भी बिल्डिंग होती,
You had to climb down.
तो
all the
आपको यू हैव टू
stairs.
वॉक डाउन द स्टेयर्स और यू हैव टू वॉक अप टू द स्टेयर्स, राइट? तो सोल्यूशन बनाया है कि साहब अपने आप ऊपर कैसे जाएं आप बटन दबा के विद द यूज ऑफ मशीन्स,
Exactly.
राइट? तो वो जो मशीन बनी वो भी एक सोल्यूशन, लिफ्ट इज अ सोल्यूशन. इन द सिमिलर स्पेस व्हेन वी वर क्रिएटिंग आवर प्रोडक्ट्स, because we both, me and my co-founder couple, we both were in corporates for close to 2 decades individually, and we were both working at great positions, and we understood things from how the leadership is going to view the entire solutions to which you are a part of.
Okay.
For example, if I am heading a HR function, तो HR के function के अंदर there are 15 different processes within that HR function. उन सारे प्रोसेस को मुझे अगर एक साथ देखना है तो मुझे हर एक उस प्रोसेस के ओनर से बात करनी पड़ती है कि आपके प्रोसेस में क्या चल रहा है, क्या पेन पॉइंट्स हैं, कैसा है. और वो सारी चीज़ें कैसे, आप पेन पॉइंट पूछते कैसे हो, डेटा में ही तो पूछते हो. फॉर एवरीथिंग ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन इज सेव्ड इन अ फॉर्म ऑफ डेटा.
Yes.
So when we created our first product, that was data on demand. Can you talk to that data which is spread across these 15 process owners? So that when you want to communicate with them, you already know that, okay, this is the question if I put forward, I already have that information with me, but I still want to put forward that out. That what was the rationale, what was the reason why you created this kind of transaction? Why did you create this step? Why did you create this process? So that what is the impact on all that realm of creating decisions within a business? So that was the solutioning which we started thinking through. Then we reached out to different industries, right from manufacturing to defense to healthcare. We reached out to hundreds of different people. We gathered what they were looking out for, and then we started creating products. I guess that's the moot of every solution which we all bring in. We first talk to the stakeholders, we gather information, and then we create a product.
Right.
Right.
And going further,
Right.
where do you see the demand? What products, what AI solutions will be required for in the next, say, 3 years of time?
All right. So different industries would have different solutions. Call it, for example, in corporates, the biggest gray area is the data which is scattered across hundreds and hundreds of softwares within every company. So a finance would have maybe 50, 60, 70 plus softwares within one single vertical. Similarly, the marketing function would have again 30, 40, 50, 100 depending upon what kind of a company, what kind of an operations they are dealing in, right? So, and just imagine one single department would have 50, 70, 100 softwares. If there is a very, very big company like these multi-billion dollar companies, they would have thousands of different softwares. So that information which is being captured in those softwares are again spread across these 1,000 different softwares. How would you talk to it at the same go? You cannot do it. So that is one amongst the biggest gray areas wherein a lot of companies are there, will always be there, and would try to take away the gray matter and be a little more black and white. Right? Because the world is being driven through structures and process, and corporates are the biggest examples of structure and process. Irrespective of the industry, you come from the news background, the other person would come in from an educational background, the third person would come in from a healthcare background. But if they are very big companies, they are again corporates. So you would still fit into that.
That's where the demand arises and
Correct.
the supply
and
happens.
it will always be there. The bigger you become, you are right now sitting on 20th floor. If you sit on the 63rd, this means there are 62 layers under you. Right.
So when we are talking about data and information, are there any chances of misinformation there as well? I mean, because I come from the fact-checking background, so I really need to ask that question. Is it just I mean, on social media, we see a lot of misinformation and disinformation. But when you talk about numbers and different organizations, different departments that you have worked with, any misconception, any sort of misinformation that you have found there, anything related to that, if you want to, tell us?
Great question. Just about last 7 days, our country has been going through with a lot of misinformation, which is spread across a lot of verticals, not just the social media side, but there are tons, hundreds and hundreds of different websites quoting in incorrect information. And that's where a lot of responsible, ethical people were refraining to spread that message. The government, the army, and a lot of people in this space who are a part of news, information, and information spread were holding that information with the right set of mindset, the fourth pillar,
Yes.
right? Because you guys hold that information, you process it, you fact check it, you double check it, then you check that, okay, that information, how it's going to impact people, right? So from that perspective, there is a lot of work which you guys have to do. Why? Because there are no direct sources that, okay, you check in how many people are there who were suffering from very specific casualties, for example,
Right.
in a war situation. Or you want to talk to a particular data, which is the government is procuring this much. When the government is procuring this much, there is a simple unit mathematics that you bought these many Rafales, it costed you this much, the R&D and everything. So that information all spread. But when you reached out to the primary research, that is, you went to the war zone and you identify how many people really got impacted through a shell, right? For example, that is where the information is being gathered. The first thought process of statistics, right?
Misinformation cannot be limited to social media.
Yes.
It can be spread across various industries as well, and defense being one, especially in context of the last 7-8 days that we have seen and after Pahalgam terror attack as well.
So I would also want to add in there, Devika, one information is that you are gathering information, then you're collecting, then you're processing, and then you are giving it to it. That's primary way of doing it. But when we talk about companies, when we talk about people, that's not the same way how the data is being captured. For example, again, thinking from a point of view, if a student wants to know about a particular solution, he would go to a ChatGPT, he would go to a Google, and then try to gather all that information which is out there on the hundreds of links which he's gonna take up. Who would become the custodian or the authority saying that this link is correct and this link is not? When we talk about from the professors or the teachers' perspective, they also take a lot of time to process it. In the similar capacity, the student would never be in a very high authoritative way, wherein no sir, this information looks incorrect and this information is correct, right? So that is again a process which you as a company would always have to check that, okay, where this information is coming in, how it is impacting your user, and how it's gonna be taken by the user also.
Right. So this really answers my question.
Yeah.
So, but again, with AI, there's a lot of negative words attached as well. Hallucinations, bias. Although I feel that we as humans are also, we tell lies, we are biased, we have opinions. But when you build the products that you build, how do you make it a point not to let those hallucinations or biasness come in? Or are you still working towards that area?
Certainly. Let me answer this question in two different ways. Why? Because we are talking about artificial intelligence. So people thought 2.5 years back when ChatGPT came in everybody's life, AI was born. The reality was that it was already existingly used by practically all the industries and all the verticals in different form or the other. Some were using the basic automations, some were using macros to automate tasks, some were using robotic process automation. But AI as a perspective, industries were using, right? So when I talk about this, there are two different sorts of data again. First is that how much information I have to create a product and then give it to my customer. So LLMs were created on the existing databases or existing information on Google and otherwise. And they train their products on that. And that's where all sorts of information would come in. You would see when in the beginning days of chat GPT, people were asking stupid questions and it was giving stupid answers. Why? Because to understand if it is stupid, somebody has to do a fact check to it, right? Who is the prime minister? Who is the president? 2 plus 2 is what? We all have, we all remember those things when we were asking those questions, right?
Exactly.
But then over the period of time, companies, they knew that this is what is gonna be there. So what is an alternative solution? You create your own sets of information biases and then you capture it in a way which again solves that purpose when it reaches out to your end customer or your client. So for example, one of our educational product, we created that product was because all the loosely available information cannot be correct. And that information is just information. That is not resolving any issue.
Yes.
That's where when in the beginning of it, you asked me about the agents. So we created a lot of our own agents. And we are amongst the very few companies in India, those who have got at least a dozen plus patents on the products. AI company, a Gen AI company, which will get that. So hallucinations and biases, you have to remove or you have to limit that up. That's where the accuracy point in view comes in. When you talk about judging a X-ray report and checking if somebody would, a compounder in a PHC, these healthcare centers, would want to click a photo of a chest X-ray, upload it to an app, and then see how well this disease is being captured in it and what is the accuracy of this particular disease to happen in this particular X-ray. Right? There the chances of hallucination and the bias is also reduced down to almost nil or negligible.
So it depends on how clear are we in our minds,
right,
to ask the machine.
Right.
If we are not clear in our minds, if we have our bias statements, if we have our own ways of creating lies, maybe AI furthers that. But so it depends on us. So what role do you see AI literacy plays in solving or bridging this whole gap of awareness that is lacking among people today?
All right. Let me use a little statistics there, Devika. 80% of the younger generation, those who are born after 2000, right, are highly adaptive of the new age tech. The moment when I say new age tech means all the loosely, freely available tech which are available on their phones or otherwise. When these younger generation reach out to those tools, they are privy for information which it might be not necessarily be available for them. How would you trust those links? Which link is to be read? How much of study, how much of knowledge has been given to every link which is posted on Google, for example, or these days people do chat GPT for it, right? So that they
the
can
mechanism
interact.
Of search has changed, yes.
So they can interact with their search, right? In that context, this younger boy or a girl, or even for that matter, a teacher, cannot rely on every answer and forget about every answer. The education system is being created and crafted so that the answers are being coming from where? Either your teacher or your book. They are the custodians of knowledge, not the freely available information which is out there. The knowledge of your custodians, that is the book and the teacher, you are not reaching out to them. That age doesn't let you talk. Even if you are an ambivert, that is introvert, extrovert, or ambivert, doesn't make you walk to your teacher.
Exactly.
right? Because you're always hesitant to really ask this question. That how many times I can ask the same question in every quarter? I cannot ask. So for that, if you need an answer which is 100% accurate, right? If you want to know where this answer is being generated from your book itself, and if you want to read, study, and upskill anytime, anywhere, then you use products like these.
So, thank you, Rishabh, for all the meaningful conversations that we had today and the world of AI that you showed us, the products and the literacy that our masses need. Thank you so much for that.
Sure, Devika. Thank you for inviting me over.
So, once again, thank you so much, Rishabh. And this was all from me, Devika. Next week, we are going to come up with a new guest in another episode of AI Literacy Bridging the Gap series. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.